again here at the end of the year, and let me just throw this out there. Who would you rather be, the Detroit Lions or the Giants? Giants, bad taste in your mouth at the end of this one. Lions, awesome offseason.
Oh, gosh, yes, how we always react to the immediate. I mean, your season was over 2 weeks ago. We were happy for a week.
Yeah.
Very happy, which I think trumps everything.
We were so happy.
You were so
Rodgers,
happy.
Get out of there. We've been partying for like 3 weeks now.
Good. Yep, that's good. Hey, nothing like you guys, the number 2 team in the NFC North Division. We'll hang up a banner. You guys can be like the Colts. We were in the upper half of the NFC North.
We got a lot of banners, like the Vikings. The Vikings can be 11-0 in the regular season in one-score games. That's a banner that they get to hang.
Right.
We get to be upper half of the NFC North.
Right.
Next to the banner that we had from last year, our former quarterback won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, damn right. The Detroit Rams.
Flags fly forever.
Flags are flying in Detroit. You guys are hanging banners, man. You guys are like the '90s. You're like the '90s Bulls over there.
Hey, what was this? I heard that you were talking with Florio. You're floating an idea out there about Tom Brady. There's speculation. What's he going to do? Is he going to retire? Is he going to? He's telling his podcast co-host Jim Gray to F off. I guess.
I know, it was awesome. It really was. I love Brady when he gets like that. I mean, we were
go to the Lions.
We were speculating.
Okay.
And then just the one thing I was trying to make sense, clear to Mike a little bit. Because he was talking about love of the game and all that, and I'm like, yeah, he loves the game, but like. He's not going to the Houston Texans next year, okay? He didn't love the game that much, right? That's where I think, he's going to go to a team, because I hear all these teams thrown out, and, some of them I just want to go, what? Like, Brady, which will probably be his last year if he comes back, he's going to pick a team to go, I think we can get to 500. Mm-hmm. I think we'll get to the wild card round. I want to come back and risk my 48-year-old body to get to the wild card. 46-year-old.
48?
I know, sorry, out of a few years.
Hey.
And I was just trying to make the point. He's only going to go somewhere where the setup is, like he had when he left New England and went to Tampa.
And so you think the Detroit Lions have that
I just
setup.
threw one of those teams out there to go again, they were one of the – I threw some other ones. I'll hit on it too. But just Detroit with the great offensive line. You can run the ball. Yep. The offense is set up, right, like we've talked about. And I wasn't trying to disrespect Jared Goff. He's done a great job and all of that. We know the defense needs to get better, but I was just trying to say that. He's not going to go to somewhere where they're like, well, yeah, if you guys get 2 or 3 linemen in free agency, and then, it should be pretty good, and that receiver, oh, wait, I signed to the team and we didn't get those? Oh, shit. He's going to go somewhere, again, that's where I even was like, it's going to go to a team that's, stacked. That makes sense, I wanted to say
Lions.
San Francisco, but, of course it doesn't look that way with the way Brock Purdy isn't playing and all that. Yeah. But something of that nature is what I was trying to say, right?
We don't need that negativity. We don't need the
You don't want to shake up your QB room?
I actually no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that.
I
think Jared Goff played.
Let's build on that. Let's go forward.
Played well enough
instead of disrupting it and then going, wait, now we need to find a quarterback again.
It's not a clear upgrade in my mind, right?
I hear you.
And it might even be a downgrade.
Yeah. Brady can really still throw the ball.
Yeah.
He just has to be protected. People bearing down on him, about to hit him. Yeah, you're right. I probably would take Jared Goff. Pocket clean, I'm taking Brady. Brady's throwing is still top notch. That's where I really am amazed by him.
I do think Jared Goff became a leader in that clubhouse this past year, too.
I hear you.
So
right.
I just don't want to mess with it. Don't mess with it.
Jared.
Tom Brady, go play for someone else.
Go find your own team. But the Dolphins, again, a team like that. That's what I mean. A team that we're all looking at to go.
You think he's going to find a spot?
I don't know.
Earlier this year, just a couple weeks ago, we were talking what if that perfect spot where it lines up?
That's where I don't know.
Doesn't pan out.
Right? What if it doesn't happen? Right? I mean, I know we all connect them to the Raiders a little bit. Yeah. And okay, well, they got some pieces, and we know the coaches and all that. Is the defense ready? I don't know, but I'm with you there. If it's not the right spot, I don't think he just comes back to come back. And we'll see. I certainly, 6 weeks ago, would have been like, this is it. It's over. And here we are now. I'm going, I don't know. I don't. It still seems like it's on the fence here.
Well, he would not come back to play for the Cincinnati Bengals.
They don't need him.
Not a good enough offensive line for Tom Brady. So sorry, Bengals, you're not getting into the Brady sweepstakes. Chiefs might actually.
Yeah.
They would have a chance because that offensive line is pretty good. We're getting into what the F will happen.
Right.
in conference championship weekend. We'll go through the two games. You've looked at a lot of film.
Yep.
You've looked at film from the divisional games.
Yeah.
You've looked at some film from Week 13 when the Chiefs played the Bengals. We'll get to the NFC game, 49ers and Eagles. There's so many questions in all these games. I cannot wait to pick your brain
great matchups.
About. Let's start in the AFC, though. And let's start with the Bengals. And let's start with Week 13, because I think the big storyline going into the game, obviously, is Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be a different Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
He's going to have to be more of a pocket-passing Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And you said maybe he had one of his best, if not the best year in the pocket this year.
Yes.
What about Week 13? So let's go back there first. Look at Bengals defense, Chiefs offense. Week 13, did Patrick Mahomes, and of course this is a game where the Cincinnati Bengals won, but it was close.
It was very close.
Chiefs scored 24.
Yeah.
Was it a game where Patrick Mahomes was able to operate in the pocket, pick them apart, or was it a game where he needed to utilize his scrambling ability?
You know, I will say, scrambling ability, not a ton. Had one 3-man rush where he bought a ton of time. He threw a great throw down the field, right? And it got called back because of an illegal man downfield. The lineman was downfield.
Okay.
Now, so running around, scrambling, maybe running for 10, 15-yard gains, running outside the pocket, setting up, and then doing the things we see him do all the time, right? Get out of trouble, now set up, or he's kind of shuffling as he's doing it, backpedaling, and then doing that. I don't think we'd see him much of that, even if he was at full strength. I don't think we would. Now, where he's going to need to be good, and again, we hit on this on Monday because we talked about Cincinnati. Cincinnati understands like all the things Coach Dungy or Bill Belichick have taught over the years and how to rush a mobile quarterback. You know, they watching that game back against the Bills and everything, they do everything the right way. So they're good at keeping you in there. And then, too, Ahmed, what they're good at is they don't run past the quarterback like we've talked about, right? Let's not have a defense then just run by him, right? And then it's, whoa, we got a huge gap here, and he can just slowly move out to the right or left and find wide open people. They don't go past the quarterback. The other thing they're really good at, Hendrickson and Hubbard, is like, if you're the tackle and I'm Hendrickson and the quarterback's in there, let's say you're the right tackle, right? I'm the left defensive end. They make sure they keep the outside arm free. So then they push the pocket, they don't pass the quarterback, and they keep the outside arm free. So why? As soon as he breaks, they can go, wait, I can get out there, and I got an arm reaching already, and it makes it hard. The movement is going to come in handy within the pocket. That's where I think it's going to be crucial that he can move a little bit, because the Bengals, as we've talked about, are phenomenal in pass defense. They're phenomenal. And in games like this, I think they're even better because they just get more specific. They take a few more chances because it's the playoffs and it's win or go home. And that, to me, is where he's going to have to be good. Can he move around and slide in the pocket to go, wait, nobody's open, nobody's open. Hey, you got to move a little because this guy's coming open. Okay, boom, you throw it, right? You got to shuffle this way and just avoid this guy. Get back in the throwing position. Here comes the in cut to Kelsey. But that's where it'll be important. I don't think his scrambling or running, even if 100%, was going to have a huge effect on this football game.
Yeah.
Now, the other part of this is that's off of that, though, because you saw my notes, right? And what was the one thing even back in Week 13, and I think I even wrote in these notes too, is just that, like, the normal offense didn't do much, right?
Right.
You know, the normal drop back, the plays we see Mahomes be surgical with and operate and go down the field, those plays, they were not there on a consistent basis. And that first matchup, and we said this at the time, it was the run game, it was screens, it was speed sweeps, it was screens to the receivers. That was really the best thing they had going in that football game. Yeah, and then there was a little, a little smattering of drop back passes. But that was really where they gained a lot of their yards and put a lot of their drives together. It wasn't the typical, Mahomes like we saw against the Jaguars on the first drive where you just went, whoa, I mean, he's moving, he's throwing, and everything's going, and it's clicking, and it's all through the pass game. It wasn't that way. They struggled in that department, and to me, it's probably one of the reasons they started to go, wait, we got to even dive more into the run game with this Pacheco thing.
So I'm glad we're starting with this because this is probably the linchpin of the game. You mentioned you have a lot of respect for what the Bengals do as a pass defense.
Yeah.
They're even tougher if they can drop 8 guys back there and get some pressure with 3 guys.
Right.
I think we have a graphic that illustrates what Patrick Mahomes has done versus the Bengals when they are rushing 3. So in the AFC Championship game last year, he was 7 of 14, no touchdowns, just 72 yards, so not a whole lot of damage. Sacked 4 times with a 3-man rush.
Right.
And then week 13, 3-man rush, just did a handful of times. He was 1 of 4, just completed that 6-yard pass and was sacked 1 time. Again, so the Bengals have been effective at getting to him, even with this Chiefs offensive line, which is pretty good, with just a 3-man rush, and that could be huge.
It definitely is. I would say this Chiefs offensive line, I think, is playing as good as it's ever played. So it won't be as easy for 3 to get there this time, nor 4 either. I don't. But, yeah, the beauty of what the Bengals do here, too, and where it's hard because you go, well, wait, it's a 3-man rush. They should be able to do little things. Again, most of the times they wait for it's an obvious passing situation, so the run game is not really a 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8. You know, you'd like to, okay, if I definitely knew they were going to rush 3, maybe you take a chance on 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. You do that. But they usually don't do it until down in distances where they know, like, okay, the draw or some cute run is out of the realm of calling the play here. All right? So then the other aspect of it is just what are they going to play, like we talked about even last year. There's so many variations, so it's hard to call a play. Hey, if I knew they were going to drop 8 and it was always either Tampa 2 or cover 3, sure, we could package some plays together and figure that out. But it's all over the place. It's sometimes man with guys just sitting there playing the middle and waiting for crossers. Then it's, a quarters coverage with an extra guy. And then it's a 2-man guy with a spy. And then it's, cover 3 on the whole field, except they put Flowers, number 33, man-to-man on Kelsey. So there we got 7 guys playing cover 3 zone, and all of a sudden it's man-to-man on just 1 guy. So it's hard to figure out, wait, what's the list of plays we go to here to attack it?
You made a really good, interesting point in your notes, too, on not all defenses do that and can do that well and can do that successfully, play multiple defenses, not have a busted coverage. You had a theory maybe why the Bengals defense is able to do that. You said, because they go against this Bengals offense in practice, OTAs.
It's a little, and then, I know we'll flip over to that side of the ball in a minute, but it's a little, I think, because of that. As I was sitting there and going, because I'm also, watching the other side of the film and all that, but I'm going, yeah, they understand that we can't just line up on the same things, or these good offensive coordinators, offensive coaches, and quarterbacks are just going to get to the plays that make sense there. So they change it up. And within changing it up, you give a play up here and there, right? That's why their defense isn't maybe top 5 in football or top 10 in football. But it's conducive to playoff football when the breakdowns are even more intense and the players and their study habits during the week and the practice and everything's more intense and scrutinized and detailed, and coaches will take a chance here and there because they know it's win or go home. But I think that's probably an aspect of they learned that lesson, the hard way. Whereas probably in camp, they were going, man, we're having a Tampa 2 day, and they're just picking it apart. Yeah. We can't just play Tampa 2 against Joe Burrow. Yeah. And then the next day, and I think he probably toyed with it that way. But that's where they're very hard to get a feel for, especially when they get you in those passing situations. And that's where they have to be careful in this football game. They're awesome when if you just let them worry about pass, and you're not going to beat the Bengals. And that's, again, where running game, staying in some more 3rd and 3s and 3rd and 4s. So then, you want to rush 3? Well, maybe we do run it up the middle. Yeah. You want to rush 3? Maybe we throw a little screen to the slot receiver here and just get a few people to kick out, and we get a 5-8 yard gain, right? First down, great. That's where there's going to be like staying in front of the chains will be important to their football team because you don't want Mahomes sitting back there having to dance around and do all that on the bum ankle either.
So let's touch on that. Yeah. Do you think they're going to be able to do that? Because if you look at what the Bills were not able to do in the running game last week, just 19 carries, 63 yards. Now that may speak more to the Buffalo Bills and a lack of a running game.
Exactly. I think so. Right. Because there's more to defend with this offense than the Bills. That's for sure.
We saw it with Pacheco.
Right.
First time they played, they were able to do that effectively, even with DJ Reader in the game for the Bengals. So I guess that's the question. They're going to need to be able to run the ball. are they going to be able to do that?
I think they will. I think they will be able to run the ball. It's just how effective, how much will they run the ball? You know, I don't doubt the effect of what this injury has on the O-line. You know, again, we know this. We've talked about this, right, a lot during the human psychology of football, right? You know how we always talk about in the Super Bowl, right, when they play a great quarterback and a great offense, the D linemen all week are like, all they're being told is, if you guys can't get there, we can't win the game. You guys got to be like rabid dogs. And so by the time the game's coming around, they're like, they're ready to go. They're like caged animals.
Yeah.
Well, the reverse of that is what we're going to see this week. Or they're going to have a week, and the coach is going to go, hey, our guy is not right. He's carried us and won us a lot of games this year and the year before and the year before, right? And the year before. Let's carry him a little this week. All right? And guys do rise to the occasion like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see them break out a few run plays that we haven't seen them do before, because they're going to go, wait, we need a little more in this department, not only because of the Bengals, but because of our quarterback.
Yep.
And I think a lot of this offensive line, and they've gotten better in this department since Week 13, right? The Chiefs have gotten better as a football team. The Bengals have too, and I don't want to disregard that, but that's where it's an awesome matchup. I don't think these teams are quite the same as they were in 13. I think they were both like kind of on an upward trajectory like a real Super Bowl team should be, and continuing to get better, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where it will be. And then again, to the point you just made with the Bills too, I have a hard time thinking that the 3 is going to get there in 2 seconds like it did against the Bills. This O-line is very good. I'd be shocked if they don't protect them really well and, you know, have a few tricks or things ready for the Bengals defense. The other thing that jumped out to me in the game, and I know you probably saw this in my notes, just watching it back, the Bengals really played to stop the intermediate pass game, right? You saw that in my notes where I was like, they got to do a little more to, like, attack them and push the ball down the field a little bit. He had 2 plays down the field to Valdez-Scantling. Tight man-to-man coverage. But, man, there was so many snaps where I want to be like, I've never seen people play the Chiefs like this. I mean, both safeties are at 9 yards, 12 yards. And they were kind of playing like, you know, how I always talk about. You got to take some risks every now and then, calculated risks. They were in certain situations going like, this isn't a down, they throw it deep. They're going to try to get the 8 or 10-yard completion. And they played to stop that. But if you called some plays to go down the field, I would have gone, I would like to see how they're going to defend that and how that was going to look.
Yeah.
Right? And I think they got to do some of that here in this football game too. You know, block it up, send some shots down the field. Don't let the Bengals, you know, crowd the areas that they normally like to attack, you know, on a consistent basis.
I mean, you look at the numbers. The Chiefs aren't an offense necessarily that goes deep down the field.
I know.
Completed air yards per attempt.
Exactly.
Patrick Mahomes is one of the lower quarterbacks in the NFL.
It's been one of the weaknesses we've talked about his game this year. And I think this is, you know, again, you always kind of play your kryptonites. This is a game here this week where he's going to have to hit a handful of these, or they're going to be in a real dogfight, and offense will be tough sledding if they let the Bengals play that way once again.
I think we have another graphic that backs up your point.
Wow.
Well done, team here, Gabby and Kristen and Morgan and Pete. So this is at 10 or more yards downfield first half. Patrick Mahomes just 1 of 5, 15 yards. Average time to throw 4 seconds, which is an eternity.
Yeah.
So they had some time there. Second half, it was much better. 3 of 4, 86 yards. That's a key. They got to hit some of they got to get the Bengals out of just crowding the line of scrimmage.
They got to. They do. And it's not that they crowd the line of scrimmage, but they crowd the
intermediate,
the Juju Kelsey area, right?
Yeah.
You know, where we see them work, right? That's where they crowd it. And they're just always ready for that little element of, this guy, they might cross, or the fake the cross and come back out, or fake the cross, come back out, and then there's a 10-yard in cut behind it, right? That's where the Chiefs get you. And that's where they went a few times and just said, no, we're going to play those areas, because we haven't seen them throw the ball a ton deep down the field outside the numbers this year and do that. And that's where the Bengals are scary, because they will take some calculated risks through their study. And I would expect them to do some of that stuff once again.
Dirty Monkey 443 wants a little clarification.
Yeah.
And when Dirty Monkey wants something, we supply
I don't mess with dirty monkeys.
Please break down how good Mahomes has been from the pocket this year and what we should be able to do against the Bengals. So we've kind of touched on this already, but you have said it a couple times. He's better from the pocket. Like, what have you noticed specifically?
Well, one, he's true to his reads and patient. I think that's the big thing. And Andy Reid even said this to me in my interview with him last Thursday. He's found the check down. He's comfortable with the check down. And what he just means by that is the underneath route. You know, he got fixated, I think, back to the Super Bowl loss of the Bucs, early part of last year with just, I'm big play Mahomes and we're going to push it. And, man, it was just 2 years ago I was throwing 50 touchdown passes and bombs all over the field, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where he's gotten better, one, is just being patient, going through the reads, letting the system work for him is how I said it with Andy Reid, right? And then the other thing, too, within that, just that specific point, is the mechanics of how he works the pocket, not only by, like, Dirty Monkey. This is a great question by you, by the way. Not only because we haven't really dove into it, not only it's just working the pocket, like, hey, we know he's a magic getting out of the pocket and all that, but we had moments last year where we broke down and went, like, Orlando Brown got a pressure grade here. He protected perfect. Patrick just shuffled back into the guy to where the guy never had to turn the corner. He could just run straight upfield, and he's like, I'll meet him 12 yards back there. I mean, no tackle can protect that, right? So Mahomes got better in that department, stepping up, finding that soft spot like Burrow and Brady are so amazing at, right? And then within that nuance, also staying in throwing positions where, like, you know, I feel like if you went back to year one of him starting, year two, and even year three, you'd see him maybe do some of those things. But, like, he'd just throw balls like, I'm in the backyard. Let me just swing it over here. Now he only does that when he has to. If you really broke down the plays where, he moved to the pocket the right way and he's got a little time, he stays everything in line, and his front shoulder's tucked underneath his chin. And even watching him in warm-ups and throughout the year, how many times have I told you just the quality of the football, right? It's because of the mechanics and all that. He's making all the 6 and 8 yard 10 throws very catchable, perfect spirals on the money. So, Dirty Monkey, that was a very good question, and I don't think we've ever really explained that, and that's what I mean by, like, being good in the pocket.
Patrick Mahomes, what we do know is we'll be looking for Travis Kelce in the game.
You know it.
Bengals did a pretty good job in Week 13. I think it was just, 4 catches for 50-some yards.
Stripped them on a huge moment in the game where they had a control of the game.
That's right.
And you're going, the Chiefs got a chance here to kind of put the Bengals in a tough spot. Looked like they had the momentum, and I believe it was Jermaine Pratt who stripped the ball out of his hands.
So what do you think Anaromo does effectively against him, and what do you think he does in this game? You noted that Trey Flowers was on him a handful of times.
Right.
Now, Trey Flowers missed the Buffalo game with a hamstring injury. He only played a few snaps in that one, but he seems to be the guy on Kelce quite a bit. They blitzed him a couple times when it was a Kelce play.
Yeah.
What do you think the Bengals do here to slow down Travis?
I don't think their formula is going to change a ton. I think they'll have certain situations where they'll bracket a Kelce, right? They'll have a few situations where I think, like, well, here it's 3rd and 9. Oh, this is Kelce time. Hey, let's play zone. We all know where 87 is, but let's put one guy on him so it disrupts his release, all of that. And then when Mahomes does spread out the zone and looks us all off, there is no zone. There's a guy there, let alone we're aware of where he is anyways within that zone. I think it's not going to be too far from what we've seen. To me, the big thing is in this matchup, and where Kansas, they're cool, Cincinnati. They always have an interesting wrinkle almost every game in a big game where you just go, I never seen them do that. Or I haven't seen them do that in a few weeks, and they didn't do it in the first half, and they broke it out in the third quarter, right? Mm-hmm. That's where they're different. We talked, I think, about the Ravens game a few weeks ago. Ravens game, the first half, they were kind of playing bare fronts, 5-man fronts, doing all this stuff. Second half, they went, we know how you're going to, we think you're going to, like, kind of attack how we lined up in the first half, so we're going to line up differently in the second half. So you're game planning at first half to go, we got to get to these runs because they're playing like this. Now you're going, shit, they're not playing like that. We got to get back to these plays. That's where he's good, too. It's kind of staying at the herd, just giving you one little thing to go, you didn't game plan for this, or you haven't seen this in 2.5 quarters, and now it's here, and now you got to make an adjustment to that, too. He's awesome. Lou's amazing. Lou's a big game defensive coordinator coach.
He's shown it.
As we're all learning here. Yep. Right, exactly.
Dax Hill could play a bigger part if Trey Flowers can't
That maybe
go.
is the guy. I think I was going to go there. Maybe him or Jesse Bates. I could see one of those guys. Dax Hill makes sense. He could be that guy. He's a safety-like, physical,
Stepped
not
up
real
last
big.
Week.
He
Dawson
did,
Knox.
and he's got player. He's a player.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think that could be the guy if Flowers doesn't go.
Is there anything else we learned about the Bengals D more recently, specifically in the game last week against the Bills? Because I think when you looked at tape, you were just as impressed with the Bengals as you have been all season long. I mean, you've been singing their praises, but you said that the defensive tackles were not moved by the Bills in the run game.
At all.
The edge guys could not be blocked by the Bills.
It just, every time, there was a few plays in the game where you went, oh, Allen's going to have something here, because it didn't happen much. But it's like almost every time he dropped back to pass, somebody lost the one-on-one matchup. That was what was disappointing. And you forget about guys like Joseph Asai, who they throw in there on third downs and stuff too, and then you go, damn, him, Henderson, Hubbard, holy crap, it becomes a hard group to block. But yeah, they're just, the group up front doesn't get the credit it deserves, because there's no, like Nick Bosa or Micah Parsons, right?
Right.
But damn, there's a lot of good. The two linebackers are amazing, right? They really are. Pratt and Wilson do not get the credit they deserve. And then their breakdowns are just, I think, special. Like, we're going back to Lou. Their breakdowns are special as far as they always seem to take away your meat and potato pass plays, which they did against the Bills too. And then, they're rare in that they're amazingly coached in zone, and they're really damn good in man too. They're probably better in zone than man, but when they play man, you still go, damn, that's a good group right there. Hilton, Eli Apple, Cam Taylor-Britt, and you go, oh, damn, I mean, nobody's like ever outmatched. You go, ooh, they have an advantage, but they're not like, you're like, oh, gosh, they're in deep shit, right? Not like we were when they saw Jamar Chase man-to-man against the Bills a few times, where, like, even Romo made a joke. It's like, oh, he's just man-to-man. They just throw it. Have you ever seen a guy just run past people like that? Yeah. And, like, the Bills had to hold them, right? So they don't have, like, anything that they have to worry that way. I think I hit it all. Yep. I don't know if there's anything there that you saw in my notes. They're going to pick their points to double and do that stuff, but as you saw at the end of my notes too, Bengals always seem to unveil different blitz or some different look in the second halves. Bills never got in rhythm the whole game, and they never made a play. DNs push the pocket, outside arm free, all the things you heard me say already. So, I think we kind of hit it all.
So let's switch over to the other side of the ball. Chiefs defense, which has come along really well.
Big time. I think this game might have been another landmark moment for their defense too.
How so?
I think between what we said on the offense, and I think they came away and go, wait, if we play these guys again, we got to even be better at running the football. We can't let them play all these crazy coverages and just play pass defense against us all the time. And I think this side of the ball taught them we have to expand our package here in this one too. We kind of hit on this in week 13, but I feel like this was the moment where they started to go, okay, hey, rookie guys, younger guys, we got to go to the next section of the playbook.
So Steve Spagnuolo
take the training
and that
wheels
defense
off. Right.
is different than they were week 13.
Definitely. Better for one. Guys like Karlaftis, I feel like, are better now. But the big thing is, I think there's more trust within their secondary and them knowing the full scope of the playbook, to where they've gone into a little bit more of an advanced stage. My issue with them in this game, the first time around, if you remember, was more of like, hey, I love Kansas City, their disguises, all that, right? I like some of their stud playmakers. But for a guy like Joe Burrow, he was like, wait, it's all-out blitz, set hut, or it's show a crazy look, set hut, drop to too deep, right? And that's just not enough for Joe Burrow. It's not enough. We learned that last week. He's just, okay, blue 88, said hut. Oh, I saw the safety that was down here looking like he's in a blitz. He's going to 2.
It does seem like he immediately diagnoses.
He's
defenses.
amazing. He's great. That's where he's he's scary, surgical, killer, whatever you want to say. But yes, he does it with his physical ability, and his mind is a very high level mind too, to where he gets all the context clues together in a hurry and gets the team in the right play or goes to the right place with the ball. And that, to me, is where that's got to change. Like, they're showing looks where you're going, oh, it's run defense. But he gets a little clue to go, it's not. They're going to drop to Tampa too. They'd run the ball, even though before the snap it said nothing looked like run the ball. But he knew. And then they run for 8 yards, right? So that to me is where it's got to change a little bit, and it has changed. And if it doesn't change and they don't mix up looks a little bit like we just talked about Cincinnati doing to Mahomes in Kansas City,
right,
then they're going to be at home and watching the Bengals in the Super Bowl for the second year in a row.
Well, here's where it might not matter, though.
Yeah.
Because if the Bengals can run the ball like they did last time against the Chiefs,
it's amazing.
You might have no choice.
I know.
152 yards. This is when P. Ryan was in there. 21 carries, 106 yards. So if they can do that again, I mean, it kind of doesn't matter what you do if you're Steve Spagnuolo.
No,
right?
that would be an absolute disaster. Now, I think within these defenses I'm talking about, it's actually going to help that department out. That was one of my points too.
Yeah.
Because if you're always going to, hey, it's all out blitz, okay, and then the other plays are covered too, they're these great run looks all the time. So to where I go, wait, let's play some more aggressive defenses, like we just talked about with Lou Anarumo. Let's take a few calculated chances where you go, okay, wait, if they call this play, yep, we might give a 20-yard gain, but I'm going to bet they call the 9 other plays I'm thinking of here, and we're going to be good, right? So that, and then within those plays, I think you're going to have more people at the line of scrimmage, a little more chaos at the line of scrimmage. That was my big overview of the whole thing. It just is too easy, and there's got to be a little bit more of that. And then Ahmed, to your point, and I mean that's really the number one thing. Are they going to do what they did again last week? This Chiefs D-line's better than the Bills D-line. But like I'm watching back of that going, damn, 3 backups, and it was just mauling the Bills. No, you can't even name a guy on the Bills defensive line that made a play or a tackle the whole game.
You said Ed Oliver was maybe the only guy that was...
Right, you saw that in my notes. He's the only guy that showed up, got off blocks, was almost made a tackle, made a little disruption. Other than that, I mean, it was like, who played defense for the Bills on the defensive line? Did anybody play in the game?
Yeah.
And but Chris Jones, as we know, and Karlaftis and Noddy and Frank Clark they're a different group.
So that was the assignment that I gave you in our text thread. I wanted you to figure out how the Bengals offensive line did that. And you just mentioned it, maybe the Bills, some of those guys. You know, when we talked about it when Von Miller went down, we're like, all right, now it's time for some of those other guys to step up. Now we have the whole season's work, and not any of those guys really stepped up to fill those shoes. So now it is a step up. You got Chris Jones. You got a better defensive line.
The Bills were compromised. That's the biggest thing to answer your question. I think we're where you're going here.
So was it more Bills when you look back at the tape, or was it still the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line surprisingly coming together with some backups?
I think it's both there. It's the Bengals all the way. The Bengals blocked great. They did great.
Yeah.
Definitely. But they had the Bills in the bind of where I don't think they could put the Chiefs quite in this bind, and this goes back to what we're talking about here. The Bills knew they couldn't play man. They knew it. So they always had to worry about, we got to keep the safeties deep. You know, we got to play zones, because if any of our corners are man-to-man on Jamar Chase, like the play we just talked about, Romo was talking about, I mean, it was gone. It was like you could watch tape and go, they have no chance of covering Jamar Chase, like none, right? So first off, Kansas City's got some dudes outside that can run and cover, that they can trust a little bit. But because of that, and that element of they had to worry about that so much, they couldn't ever really go all in on the run. Or if they went all in on the run, they were going to be absolutely screwed in the pass game. And then they're such a nickel football team, and because they're such a zone team, it goes back to our conversation we had on Monday a little bit. Cincinnati, once they have a feel for how you play, it's not like, oh, wow, these are the greatest plays ever, but it's like, these are the right plays versus this defense. These would be the first 8 or 10 core plays you'd put in to go, I want to screw this defense over. And then, maybe a few weeks later you go, hey, now let's make a little tweak and really screw them over, right? So, but they always get to that. And they did some things, Ahmed. Yeah, they took the Bills out of what they wanted to do. Like, here's one great example, right? 2 receivers to the left, tight end to the right, receiver to the right, right? The nickel back goes to the 2 receiver side, right? That's the passing strength.
Sure.
So that's over there. The Bills, their adjustment, when let's say that slot guy was Jamar Chase. Now he runs across the formation, whether it's motion or they make it look like a speed sweep. Instead of trying to get everybody, hey, Teron Johnson, get all the way on the other side of the formation and let's switch everybody around, what they would do is just go, wait, our 2 backers are in the middle, kick out, and now Teron Johnson plays the weak side backer spot. So maybe he switched spots now with, let's just say it was Edmonds at weak linebacker, Milano at strong linebacker. Now that motion happens, Milano at nickelback, Edmonds at strong linebacker, Teron Johnson now playing the weak side gap, and oh no, here comes a 300-pound guard coming at me, right? Yeah. So they did stuff like that. Again, back into they knew kind of what they were going to do and how to feel, and then just got to their core plays and started to expose it. I didn't mean to go down that list.
No.
But hopefully
that
explained it.
I like that. I like this matchup because a lot of people are going to make it about the two quarterbacks, and we do too. We love these two quarterbacks.
It's a great chess match here.
But it's like the defenses are going to make it very difficult on either of these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We got a question here from Rick Kennedy. Says, I keep hearing that the Chiefs have led late in all 3 losses versus the Bengals, thus they can easily win this game. But doesn't the fact that they can't hold a lead versus this team tell you something as well? So Pete notes here, Chiefs led by 2 touchdowns in 2021. Week 17, they led 21-3 in the AFC Championship game. I don't remember it was that significant.
21-3 and had the ball on the 2-yard line on second and goal from the 2 and didn't come away with any points. Don't forget that at halftime, remember?
Led by a touchdown in Week 13. So, yeah, they've had some significant leads in these games. So, yeah, what do you make of that? Anything?
No. It's 2 great teams. It's come down to a play here, a play there. It's been so close.
It speaks to how even they are, right? Either team can score 2 or 3 in a row, and you wouldn't be surprised if it was the Chiefs or the Bengals.
Exactly right. I mean, you're even like the Week 13 game. The Bengals are controlling. You're going, oh, well, they're going to control the game and kind of put them in a really tough spot here. Oh, the Chiefs made a play. Whoa. And then, here we are, I'm watching the film 10 minutes later going, holy shit, the Chiefs have a chance to put them in a hard spot here to where they're not going to be able to come back. And then the Bengals make a play. And then you're going, okay, we're back to even again. It's just, these are 2 teams that, have tremendous self-belief. They're led by quarterbacks who back down to nobody, and I think that's what you see from their team. And I think the biggest thing, too, and I think a little bit of this goes into what I'm talking about, what we're hitting on, our main thing here. The Chiefs can't get the lead and then go back to Simpleville. They did that in Week 13. They were down 14-3. We're going to show some of these plays on social after, right? They were 14-3, all right? The first 2 drives are everything we talked about. It was either like an all-out blitz or it was cover 2. And it was mainly cover 2. And they just boom, 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 right down the field. Oh, shit, we're down 14-3. We can't do that anymore. They started to do some more exotic things on defense. Whoa, let's double chase. Let's do this. Let's blitz a guy, have a guy drop out, blah, blah, blah. And they got off the field, 3 and out, right? And then they came back, and they got the lead, and they were up 17-14, and they went, let's go back to that defense that we were down 14-3 with, right? You get conservative. Let's not have a big play, right? Which I understand. But they're going to have to find the blend of that. Because if you go back, I don't give a shit if you're up 10 or 14, and you go back to that, Joey Cool is going to take his offense down the field in a cool way, and you're going to lose the damn game. So they better do something. As we talk about with the Bengals would not sit back and just go, oh, we're up by 10. We're just going to play cover 2 on Patrick Mahomes. He would still change it up and do different things. And that's where he's got to learn the calculated risk, take a few chances, do some things that are a little creative that way.
You want to do 2 stats and a lie on these defenses? Since we've been talking about these defenses so much, might as well quiz you midway through your breakdown. I love how we're giving the Ds.
We're giving D here.
I kind of think it's a weekend of the defenses.
I would agree with you there.
Even though these quarterbacks are huge stories, and Brock Purdy, it's awesome what he's done. Jalen Hurts, a great MVP-type year, and the 2 quarterbacks in this game, I do think it kind of hinges on the defenses. All right, you ready?
Yeah. Wait, one more thing before you get there.
Before even the 2 stats and a lie?
Fine. Okay,
we're not done with this game yet.
Okay, good. We're not done. Okay, good.
I'm not going to the next game yet. Trust me. I would not do that to you when we have more to discuss. But I just thought it might be good to kind of take a pause, quiz your knowledge, see how you do. So this is on the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bengals defenses. 2 stats and a lie. 2 of these are true. 1 is not true. You ready?
Yep.
The Chiefs are better in terms of yards per play. The Chiefs are better in terms of sacks per dropback. And the Chiefs are better in terms of interceptions per pass. So these are all regular season. The Chiefs seem to have the edge here.
So here, the Chiefs got more sacks. I know that.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
The Bengals are a team that would prove to you that sacks are overrated.
Chiefs were 5th in the league.
Yeah.
9% of the time they were getting a sack.
Where were the Bengals?
29th.
I was going to say bottom 10, I thought. Right.
Yeah.
They're a team that, again, pressure, complexity, illusion is what they use to pressure the quarterback, right? Okay, so, man, I know the Bengals defense is ranked ahead of the Chiefs in total yards, but I don't necessarily know if they're going to be ahead of them. Okay, no, I think the lie is Casey is better in interceptions per pass.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. They were 25th in the NFL and taking passes away from the other quarterback. The Bengals, were mid-pack, just 15th in the NFL.
Okay, right.
Which is, I found all these interesting, right? Because the Chiefs, have the advantage here because we've been talking up the Bengals defense. Some of the numbers don't indicate how good this Bengals defense is. And I don't know, maybe they've gotten better.
Chiefs D or Bengals?
Bengals
Oh, yeah,
D.
they're both. I know. I agree. I don't think it is either. They're
yards
one
per
of these
play.
teams.
You were right on yards per play.
Okay.
Chiefs were 8th in the NFL this year on yards per play. 5 yards per play. Bengals 15th in the NFL, so mid-pack. A lot of the numbers indicate the Bengals were a mid-tier defense, which really is not the case when you watch the film and when you see them play these games.
No, I think, again, that's where, they're a little bit of the play. They're made for the playoffs, and the fact that, the little extra creativity from the coaches, they got that within them.
Right.
And they know how to go all in on a game plan where, maybe you can't quite go all that way in the regular season or all that. It is interesting. It is. And I also think sometimes these stats are skewed a little bit just because teams weren't themselves early on in the year, right?
Totally.
They were missing DJ Reader for 10 weeks, right? That's a huge deal.
Yep.
So some of that as well. And Kansas City, again, I thought as the year went on, played better and better on that side of the ball.
Now you could, so if you wanted to use some of those numbers, and you're right, I wish I could look at the last 5 weeks or something. I think that would be interesting because I bet the Bengals would be up there. But some people could make the case that maybe we're overhyping the Bengals a bit. Aaron J. Richmond wants to make that case. He goes, should we pump the brakes on the runaway Bengals hype? They barely beat the Chiefs in Cincy, took a missed field goal and a Kelsey fumble, and almost lost to the Bucs, Patriots, and Ravens in the last month. Perhaps the Bengals just matched up really well with Buffalo. Well,
I don't disagree with what he's saying there. Again, it's I understand what he's saying across the board. It's not easy. It's 10 games in a row. They didn't do it by luck. Okay, it's not easy to blow out teams in football. They're not a team that really cares to blow teams out too. That's the other thing where they're beautiful that way.
Yeah,
they just play to win the game. They don't care about. That's why they're cool too. We're here talking about Burrow like he's lighting up the world with stats here, and I'm like, it's 200 yards last week and 243 this week, right? But they just, the big plays, big moments, do what we got to do to win the game, and then they come away and we go, man, he's amazing. He's unbelievable, right? Which he is. I know that. But they're not into like, we're definitely just going to come out and stick a dagger in you and we're going to have 400 yards off. They don't play that way. They're a ball-controlled, passing offense. But that's what also makes them, they match up with everybody. Even when they're mismatched, they kind of still match up. That's the beauty of their team too. And sometimes when you're built that way, it's hard to blow out teams. Teams that blow out teams are usually that have like such a distinct advantage over another team in one area.
Yeah.
They're kind of built evenly throughout. Yeah. And I think that's what's impressive about them. But that's like to the point here of, well, it's because it's a valid question, and I understand that. But also, too, to the question, I want to go, yeah, but they won 3 times in a row, and nobody has done that to the Chiefs and Mahomes. Nobody. And it's personal now. I can guarantee it's freaking personal. And, like, to play the game of what we were just talking about with the Chiefs defense of, hey, we'll play smart and sound on defense, and we'll try to be more patient with them, and one of our guys will make a play, and that's what the last 10 teams have said against the Bengals.
Yeah,
there's been 10 in a row that have all said the same thing. We'll just play not to let Jamar Chase have a big play, and we'll wait till they make a mistake. Oh wait, Burrow's 27 for 32 in the fourth quarter, and he's made no mistakes. We're gonna lose. No shit. That's where you got it, and that's where Kansas City has got to do that this week. They got to have some crazy zone blitzes, play some man. They got guys that can play man against this group. Don't live in man. If you live in man, you're going to, be dead in the grave somewhere. But they can do it. And that's where the point is here to the question, and that's something that people haven't disrupted with that Bengals offense as of yet, especially here as of late.
Yeah, Pete notes they're high stakes here. We didn't know it was going to be that serious, but the graves could come out for either of the teams if they have the wrong defensive alignment. So I think that I've looked through all your notes here.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't think we need to Columbo anything.
No,
here.
I think we hit it all. And I here's with the man, right?
Okay.
That's the last thing because I was going there just a second ago.
Yeah.
Okay, with the man too, I'd like to see them play more specific matchup man. They're a little
Chiefs.
bit. Yeah, they're a little bit like, hey, whatever receiver comes to my side, if they're in man, they just go, we cover him.
Okay.
I would go more like put McDuffie on Chase, or the guy you feel like is the best at turning and running and playing the back shoulder.
Yep.
Whether that's, Williams 23 or Watson 25, whatever. You put him on Chase. Find specific matchups exactly, right? Like we've seen the Patriots do for years. Oh, wait, big corner plays big receiver. Oh, this guy's jitterbug corner, he'll play their jitterbug, right? That's, to me, where they got to go. L'Jarius Sneed should play Tyler Boyd every time it's a man-to-man situation. Whoever's the more physical one they deem better as far as the big corners I just talked about, 23 or 35. They're both 6'3" and 190. Whoever's more physical, you got T. Higgins. And now the other guy's got Chase. To me, that's another aspect that, play to your guys' strengths a little bit as far as who they cover and who they cover best. Don't just go, hey, it's man, and whoever comes to your side, come out there.
Free advice on the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. As we're going to turn our attention to the NFC, but first, we'll take a musical break, and we'll hand out a couple of elephant awards.
Yes!
Woo!
It is that time. Big butts and we cannot lie.
The big butt of the week.
Oh.
Time to give some love to these big guys.
Some tushes.
There's a couple sacks, forced fumble.
He's a butting superstar.
Woo!
Give it to him, Ahmed.
One butt cheek.
And this is why you're the big butt expert of the world right now.
Woo! A lot of times we like to give credit to the under-the-radar guys, but we're in the playoffs now, and it's all the studs who are playing, so we really can't do that.
There's nobody under the radar. That's
we shouldn't
we
do
just
that.
Go who deserves it right
Exactly.
now.
We give it to the person, whether they're a big name or not,
right.
And we got two big names that won the awards this week.
I'm mad at you.
Our first is, you're mad at me?
I said I'm not mad at you.
Oh, okay, you're not mad at me. I was going to say. Chris Jones gets the Defensive Tackle Big Butt of the Week award in the divisional round. He had 6 pressures, the most for defensive tackles this week, a couple quarterback hits, 4 hurries, several double teams that freed up his teammates, I think, and they made some highlight plays.
They made sure they were going to not let him totally ruin the game. So that's a good one by you there.
And he said on the rematch with the Bengals, so he's already thinking ahead here, he goes, I missed some of the biggest plays of the game last year in the AFC Championship game, the Joe Burrow sack. I used that as motivation the whole offseason. I feel like I would have made those plays. The game would have been different if I would have made those plays. And so he is angry coming into this game.
I mean, it's not rare where you have the Chiefs feeling like they're the underdog.
Oh, that's true.
It's a new role for them.
I mean, they are the underdog, right?
They are. I know. They're officially the underdog, right? That's what I mean.
Oh, they can do the nobody believed in us
Well,
thing.
they can definitely – they're going to be pissed at that group. I mean, they got too much pride, and they got too many ballers who love football. That's the one thing you know. And I think between that, what you just said, and last year's AFC Championship game – and then week 13 and Samaje Perine running for 120 yards, you're going to see the Kansas City Chiefs give their best effort. Now, again, too, what they got to do a little bit is like we talked about. They got to help them out a little bit. It can't just be, hey, 4-man line, we're playing cover 2, and we want you 4 guys to stop the 6 guys that are blocking you and not let the running back get yardage, right? That's not realistic anymore. Yeah. That's cool against shit team in week 7. Not cool in the championship game against the Bengals. That's where, again, I get into the defensive variety and things like that to help some of these guys make some plays and get some disruption.
I have no idea who you're going to pick in that one. I don't get a feel on your lean.
I got a lean.
You do have
I
a lean.
do have a lean. I'm not going to tell you, though. And this is we're on the fence. My butt crack is on the fence. There's some spokes that are in places that are making me uncomfortable, okay?
Well, perfect time to talk about it in the Big Butt of the Week Awards. If you have just joined this podcast right now, we apologize. For the Edge Big Butt of the Week,
a
losing player. which we don't care.
You
You
don't
win
care.
or lose. If you play well, you earn the award.
Best edge guy I saw this week.
Micah Parsons,
Yeah.
loser against the 49er. He's not a personal loser, but they did lose the game. And I did see some people on Twitter, which is always a good place to go, not to get angry, that were like, oh, Micah Parsons didn't show up. No sacks, 4 tackles. Where was he? Well, he had 8 pressures. He had 7 quarterback hurries, most for an edge this week. And he played 66 snaps, which was tied for the most of an edge guy with your guy, Kayvon Thibodeau.
Cool.
And he threw Mike McGlinchey horizontal.
Hey,
That could have clinched it right there for him.
he was phenomenal in the football game. Phenomenal. What did I say to you? I mean, yeah, this is Reggie White shit. And this is not Reggie White. Reggie White was 6'3", 320. Micah Parsons is what, 6'2", 250? I mean, that's what's amazing. I every week watch him in amazement and go, where does his power come from? Like it's just he's got the strength of a 290-pound man. I mean, yeah, and Pete's saying from his butt, he does. I mean, his explosion is the number one thing because he just gets people leaning because you're so worried about his speed that it causes problems. But man, I mean, like I was telling you before the podcast, right? Watching that game back, I mean, that was one of the things that I was impressed by. Dallas didn't sell out to stop the run as much as I thought watching the film.
All right.
You know, Michael Parsons and the group up front, they played awesome. And Michael Parsons was all over Brock Purdy. And to what we said on Monday, like I have no doubt after watching the film back, the 49ers played conservative because they were like, we can't block these freaking guys up front. Oh. If we drop back too many times, one of these freaking guys is going to make a play. And we saw them come very close a bunch of times.
Oh, this is a good place to start off our NFC breakdown, but let's just put a cap on the Big Butt Elephant Trophy winners. Congratulations, Chris Jones winning it for the 3rd time. Micah Parsons, unbelievably, the 1st time. And, well done, Kristen, with the photos there.
Way to go.
A couple of tushes right there. And those tushes are finalists for the Defensive Player of the Year. So the NFL announced that
they should
Jones and Parsons, along with Nick Bosa.
I love it.
Multiple Big Butt of the Week award
I believe
winner.
those were my top 3 in my voting.
I mean, really, you could give it to any one of those.
I wouldn't
guys.
be mad at anybody. I think I made Bosa 1, Parsons 2, and I made Jones 3, I believe. Right, so that's where
I keep forgetting that you have a vote on all of these.
I know, isn't that crazy? Insane,
but
yeah,
crazy.
That's.
I would put you up against anyone that does this for looking at film.
Oh, thank you.
I would guarantee that no one looks at more film than you do.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think those are clearly the 3 guys. I don't think there's anybody that was in their class this year as far as week to week just being man-childs all over the field.
So let's keep it going on this theme as the 49ers visit Philadelphia, the early game on Championship Sunday. Mehmet 305 starts it off with saying this. Who do you think is going to win the war in the trenches between the Eagles and the 49ers? A game that is loaded with potential Big Butt Award winners. Now, you just mentioned that the 49ers might have had some trouble with the Dallas Cowboys, and I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are not known for having the biggest butts on the defensive line either.
You're right. But they are known to have, like, the fastest D-line and do all of that, right? And I don't think the 49ers played a defense like that all year a little bit to where that was a little bit of a shock and adjustment by them altogether. You know, but this I mean, Mehmet 305, I mean, yeah, and I appreciate you. You're always a consistent questioner here. Yep. I appreciate it. He's right. I mean, this game, come on. Now, the other game, we know has got some good players and all that, but maybe a little bit more about the skill guys in the AFC. This one is about the trenches. This is unbelievable. You talk about both of these offensive and defensive lines. We're talking 2 top 5 offenses, the top 2 defenses in football, and it's all based around their fronts. I mean, all of it. Their success on both sides of the ball is because they can dominate in those areas. So, you know, the war in the trenches, it's hard to say who's going to win the war in the trenches. Now, here's what I'll say just right off the bat, right? I don't think the game plan will be the same from the 49ers as it was last week, right? I think the 49ers realized last week, wait, Dallas, as we've talked about, it's not overly complicated. As long as we can slow down the run, we're going to be good everywhere else. And that happened. This week, you can't sit there and go, well, we can play conservative offense because our defense will hold them under 20, right? There's no guarantee of that this week. So that's, to me, where again, where I think they kept it simple and conservative to not let that strip sack fumble, something like that happen. This week, I think they're going to be more aggressive, knowing that, wait, we got to score points. There's no, as awesome as our defense is, I can't sit here and tell you that A.J. Brown and Hurts aren't going to have a few big-time connections and they're going to have a few run plays. To where what I'm saying within that is I think the aggressiveness and the more creativity and pushing together more but actually could end up making them have more plays on offense altogether and maybe helping their O-line out a little bit more to look better than what they did last week because it was so conservative. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying there?
So that might be part of it. So,
right.
Cheese Curd 19 has a question similar to what you're saying right here. What difference between the Eagles' defense and the Cowboys' defense could let them hold the 49ers even more in check than the Cowboys? Anything that makes you think the 49ers will do better against the Eagles? So, what different challenges specifically did the Eagles present that the 49ers may either struggle with or could take advantage of?
I know. The Eagles, one, it's not Dan Quinn who's going to know some of the rhythm of the offense and what Shanahan does. I think the other thing is the Eagles are, a little bit more of a variety of defense. Again, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, because again, it's the variety, and if Shanahan gets a little feel for, they like to do to this little variety when I get in these formations and this personnel, could lead to him drawing up some big-time plays. But here's the difference in the challenges. One, there's just more versatility in the attack and in the front, where the Eagles can get in certain D-line fronts where you just go, oh my gosh, they're gigantic, and you're not going to be able to run the ball on them, and there's 5 of them up there, right? And then they can be in a fast defense, and then it's a 4-man front and a 5-man front, and it's, one guy blitzing and one guy dropping. They do a lot of different things. They're different than Dallas that way. Dallas, the coverages you're going to get and all of that. It was just, can we stop the chaos up front? Philadelphia is not going to try to be quite as chaotic because they're going to go, we got studs that we think can just win one-on-one matchups. We don't need to create this chaos and do all of that. So that's where it's a little bit different. And, Philadelphia's defense as a whole is just better than Dallas. It's better. They're good in zone. They're good in man. Overall, it's a more expansive attack, I guess, is what I would say.
I want to make sure we hammer this point because I think with all the Eagles talk, a lot of it is the offense and the offensive line and Jalen Hurts and those awesome wide receivers and Dallas Goedert and the big guys up front, too, getting all those sacks for the Eagles. But you think it's more than just the pressure on the quarterback for the Eagles. I think in your notes one where you go, I love this Eagles defense.
Yes.
And I don't think we've talked about how much or why you appreciate what this Eagles defense with John Gannon have done this year.
Well, they were so conservative last year, right? It's all I complained about. Damn, quarterback just walks up the line of scrimmage and it was like, hey, it's cover 4. They didn't disguise, they didn't do anything. Hey, it's cover 2. Set Hut. Remember when we went through some of the quarterbacks' numbers from last year?
Yeah.
Right? Herbert, Brady, all the guys were all it was damn, everyone's 30 of 35 for 350 and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. They stopped doing that. This year, it was a little too conservative early on, but there was a few wrinkles. And as the year went on, they just became more complex, and you go, damn, they do a lot of different stuff. And damn, they're good at a lot of different stuff. And I think the thing is, one, a lot like Cincinnati, man or zone, they're great at both, right? Now where their special is, they can get there with 4, but they're not always content with 4. They're very good at rushing 5 and playing proper zone coverages behind it to protect them from big plays and doing it that way, And they're great at, also just it's a 5-man front, and here it is. It's Fletcher Cox, and it's, Linval Joseph and Hargrave, and then it's Sweat and Hassan Reddick on the edge, right? And you're shaking your head because you're going, damn, those are some good names right there, right? And we're not even talking about Jordan Davis, who's just getting back in the swing of things, their first-round pick. But then they get in those fronts, and you go, shit, we can't run the ball in that group. And then it's, Hassan Reddick didn't rush, and he's dropping back now. He's in coverage. He's good at doing that. Both guys on the edge drop. It's a 3-man rush. No, there's a backer that blitzed up the middle too, so it's a 4-man rush, but the 2 guys on the edges dropped out, and now our tackles are sitting there trying to, we got to block those guys. Oh, shit, they're not coming. Now we got to readjust and try to pick up the blitzer and all that. Too late. Your quarterback's been shot and killed and dead, right? That's the second guy that's died today here on the podcast.
Right.
It's playoff
football.
That's where they're good. And they're hard to get into. To me, when I study them, like a feel as far as like, oh, okay, this is what they do. This is what they're going to. They do a great job of changing it up. You know, that's the Giants plays big fourth down. They're down 7-0, 4th and 8. They rush 5, kind of play a cool coverage, get pressure on Daniel Jones, sacked, end of the drive. You know, next drive, or now it's 21-0 or 14-0. I can't remember one of these ass-kicking scores the Eagles over the Giants. Now they're driving down. It's going to be the interception play, right?
Yeah.
It's a 4-man rush. Looks simple. Oh, wait, one guy dropped, one guy blitzed. Oh, no, he's not protected. Let me throw it hot. And the DB's got a good clue of, oh, this is where they like to throw hot when he gets exposed. He breaks on it, Bradbury interception. So they got it all. And this will be, I know we talked about last week being the toughest challenge for Brock Purdy yet. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going another level up now. He got a little schooling there. It was 6th grade. Now he's going to 7th and 8th grade here, or whatever you want to say. That was senior year of high school, and now we're going to college. And it's just a different level of everything on that side of the ball.
Couple here on the 49ers offense, because that's a tough chore for anyone. It was very tough for Daniel Jones and the Giants, but the 49ers have more talent, and so maybe there's more things they can do. Josh 49ers.
Yep.
I believe he's probably a 49ers fan or a gold miner from back in the day. You never know. Can't assume. How can the 49ers attack the Eagles with their run game? All right, so if they say you think you have to run to win this game, that's probably true, right? They can't have a nothing.
They can't
be
dropped. No, right.
Okay.
Right.
So you already made a point of how difficult that is for teams, and probably the 49ers. If you're Kyle Shanahan, how are you trying to do it?
Yeah, I think that I feel like it's going to be a game where you're going to see them living on the edge a little bit more. What I mean by the edge run games. That to me, if there's this is the Niners offensive line that's been better and better, but the interior part has not been perfect all year. That's the area where I go, I don't know if they're just going to be able to go like they did last week. They were kind of simple and just set hut, ran it up the middle. Okay, 4 yards, 3 yards, whatever. Started to wear them down as the game went on. I don't know if they're going to be able to just do that against this group to where I just go, man, they're going to get in some of these fronts and you're not going anywhere up the middle there. You're going to have to find some creative ways to kind of, like we've talked about other weeks, get to C gap, get to D gap runs, try to get a little double team on one of those D tackles. Somebody cuts off a linebacker at the second level, right? It's a very fast flow defense. I do think this is where his screen games and the speed sweeps and toss sweeps are all going to be really, really crucial to their success, to get the Eagles just to spread out horizontally a little bit. To now, okay, wait, fake the run, play action, boom, there's a little hole there. The Eagles can pack it in there and make it real tough and chaotic with their size, and, their linebackers are good too.
So we've mentioned all this on how difficult it might be for the 49ers offense with Brock Purdy. Haven't really touched on how difficult it might be for their defense. The 49ers defense obviously very good, number one. But it's been picked apart by some teams out there. There have been some games where you're like, oh, wow, a lot of guys are open somehow. Right. Few and far between, but it does happen to them. And the Eagles are probably going to be the best offense, most dynamic, toughest to stop,
Yeah.
Not necessarily through the passing game.
You're right of all of it. Yeah, you're right with all of it. Even in the passing game, they're tough. I know, we've had our talks about Jalen Hurts. It doesn't mean he's still not damn good. And if there's opportunities to be had, he's going to hit them. He is. That's the one thing we know about him. He is. And they put the 49ers in some binds. I mean, they always do, of course. And we know with the 49ers a little bit, too, is it's not the greatest cover group to where if they can get them into some of these situations that we've talked about in the past where, it's 3D zone, but it kind of plays like man-to-man outside. Yeah, I don't like those matchups for them, let alone the Eagles like you're talking about and like you were saying with the 49ers. They are a team that's going to understand the rules of the defense and go, wait, oh, you're playing quarters? We got some plays for quarters, right? They're going to have some. Dallas, again, was a team that just was throwing plays at the wall. I hope this one works against that defense. I hope that one. And that never works against the 49ers. Like we talked about last week, breaking this game down a little bit, or the 49ers. You got to understand them a little. You can't just think you're going to call plays and move the ball on them. And Philadelphia has shown the ability to do that all year, let alone Philadelphia is going to put the 49ers in the greatest bind that I can think of off the top of my head. I know the Raiders did this a little bit, but the greatest bind of like, oh, no, our run game's every bit as dangerous as our pass game. You know, which one are you going to pick, right? Now, the 49ers their front seven's amazing. When we're talking about two great front sevens, those 2D tackles like we've talked about, Bosa, the linebackers, they give them some advantages that a lot of teams don't have. And I think the first thing you talk about is the run game, right? I think the 49ers can definitely slow down the Eagles' run game. I do. They're one of the few teams in football that I actually look at and go, it's going to take a really good effort by the Eagles to run the ball consistently on the Niners. And the first thing is, hey, the power, just like we talked about on Monday. Eagles are one of those teams you can just go, hey, yeah, we're running it right up the middle. You know it? Oh, great, good, 10 yards. Oh, we're running up the middle again, 8 yards. Yeah, great. Hey, up the middle one more time. Here you go, 8 yards. They can do that. They're that good, right? But not against this group. And then you get into the quarterback design run stuff. I don't think there's anybody better suited to stop the quarterback design run than the 49ers. Two things give them a distinct advantage, in my opinion. The speed and athleticism of their DNs, right? Bosa, Ekuba, I mean, they can fly. And then those linebackers again. And where, teams play these read option plays different ways, I think the way the 49ers play it is going to be more correct than maybe some other teams have played it in the past. You see a lot of teams, right? They read the defensive end, read option, right?
Yeah.
There's Jalen Hurts. He gets it set out. He does this. He's watching the defensive end, right?
That was something when Matt Casey was over here before the pod, and he goes, hey, remember when they played the Dallas Cowboys, the Eagles?
They did it to Micah
Parsons. And we were
Parsons.
like, yeah, Micah Parsons. How are they going to block him? What are they going to do with him?
Right.
Well, they didn't block him.
Yeah.
They just optioned him.
They optioned him. 49ers don't do that as much. The 49ers go, they'll play their 4 down front. Here we go, read option. I'm reading the DN. There's going to be nothing to read. Bosa's going to go, I'm going for the running back. F you, running back. I'm tackling you, right? Now, when he does that, and, of course, he's unblocked, right, what happens is Fred Warner, who now is playing one of those A gaps in the middle, right, one of those gaps between the guard and the center and the guard, one of those two, right? Well, he's going to go, as soon as he sees that mesh, he's going to go, well, my defensive end's going to get down there and kind of take the hole away. So now I can go to their hole. And they're so fast, him and Greenlaw, that when you look at research of teams doing this, they're usually right there when the quarterback keeps it. And you go, oh, shit, quarterback's, what, trying to make a miss. Oh, I got no yards, right?
Yeah.
And that's where they're a little different that way because of their personnel and how explosive they are. They can play it a little differently than maybe a lot of teams in football.
You think that's a key to this side of the ball is those 49ers linebackers, right?
I do. Yes. The 49ers linebackers will be key. The front four will be key. So they don't have to get in too many situations where we're playing man on Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown. You're going to be in some of that. You're definitely going to have to be in some of that. But, yeah, that to me is a little the key of the game. How often can they get the 49ers into defenses that are like, oh, man, we can't even – see, the 49ers, what they like to do, and we've hit on this before too, where, let's say it's tight end and 2 receivers to the right and 1 receiver to the left. That nickel back likes to cheat. Remember, we've talked about that before? He kind of likes to hey, I'm out here covering, but I'm really waiting to help in the run game.
Yeah. And
that's another thing that, again – they can't get too overzealous with that because the Eagles have great answers to teams like that. Oh, you want to come in here and help with the run? Okay, here we fake with the run, and then boom, A.J. Brown, who you're out over, we're going a little bubble screen, and now we got somebody blocking, and he's one-on-one with your safety, and you're over there going, oh gosh, I hope our guy makes the tackle, right? So this to me is going to be just like the other one, a great chess match, but maybe more of a chess match based around physicality as compared to the other one that's going to be more around the skill guys, if that makes sense in the AFC.
Anthony Bre.
Yeah.
It's Anthony Bre. Hey, what up,
What up, Bre?
Tweets in, he goes, if the 49ers don't turn over the ball, would they still be in a good position to win with how potent the Eagles' offense is? So, I mean, maybe there's a thought out there, playing in Philadelphia, number 1 seed, on the road, rookie quarterback that, if you turn the ball over, the game's over. The short field, it's like what we saw last week. You can't do that for the Eagles. But he's scared that even if they don't turn the ball over, it's going to be very difficult for the 49ers.
It is. It is. I mean, Eagles are favored. Eagles are at home. You got a rookie quarterback. You match up really good, but, And this is a game that, even if you don't turn it over and play flawless, you could still lose. That's welcome to NFC Championship football.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You can't count on that. So we'll see. Yeah, so I can't guarantee. I would want to say no turnovers, all of that. And they're still going to have to make some big plays in the game that are like outside the realm of Shanahan delivering it up, right? And I could say that I'm not trying to even lean here either way. I don't know who I'm picking in this game yet.
Yeah.
It goes for the Eagles too. But, do I think the Eagles in totality are better than the 49ers? Yeah, I do. But I don't think there's been a team that matches up with as well as them as the 49ers all year. They're finally playing a team that's got like the pieces to where you go, ooh, this should be interesting. Some of their normal answers where you can't be right, I think this is a defense that can be right a few times. Mm-hmm. And, we'll see how that plays out.
We have seen Hurts go against Purdy before.
I know, right?
Oklahoma, Iowa State.
That good old Big 12 football.
Oklahoma won. Yeah, Big 12 football. The score will indicate
Lots of
that.
Defense.
42-41. Great game. It was back and forth game. I think we have a photo of that. Here it is. Sunday Night Football tweeted this out. What did they throw for? So Brock Purdy threw for 282 yards. That was it.
I think it was more than that. Oh, okay.
5 touchdowns.
I
that
saw
was
bigger numbers than that.
I know. I did too. I guess it was in the touchdown column. 5 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns. Back and forth game. Probably not going to be 83. Pete notes a couple rushing touchdowns in that game. Yeah. I would guess is to take the under on what they did in college for this game. And I do think some people out there, I can't wait to see how the rookie handles this, how Jalen Hurts handles his biggest game as a pro. I think that's going to be fascinating. I did this little comparison at home with Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo, because I think there are a good number of fans. And, the numbers bear it out. Like, the offense has been better with Brock Purdy starting. Now, is that because of Brock Purdy? You've made the argument that it's the running game that's really taken off, and George Kittle has taken off, and maybe it's a little bit of both, right? Brock Purdy has unlocked some things in this offense
no
that
doubt.
Jimmy Garoppolo did not unlock.
I don't think you're wrong by that at all. The biggest thing to me is, like, just doing exactly what Shanahan says, and like something we've hit on a lot over the last 2 years, just we don't see 3 or 4 like what the hell was he doing type of plays, right? That's what that's
1 or 2 plays like that
is a
big game, is a huge deal. But I went through the numbers. I was kind of struck by how similar Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy were, and these are from the regular season here. Playoff numbers might help Purdy a little bit. He tore up the Seattle
Seahawks
defense, but he wasn't. The numbers weren't awesome against the Dallas Cowboys. But here's what it was in the regular season. Longest completion via air yards, it was the same for both of them, 44 yards downfield. Air yards per attempt, it was basically the same, 6.8 for Jimmy G. Brock, 6.7. Completion percentage, almost identical, 67.2 to 67.1. The expected completion percentage, that's where it's like what the computers think you should do.
Right.
They were basically the same, 69% for both of them, first and second in the NFL. That speaks to how Kyle has done in getting receivers in space, because even the computer models have been like, no, the average quarterback should complete nearly 70% of these passes. And yards after catch per completion, Jimmy G had the benefit, the best in the NFL, 7 yards after catch per completion, but Brock Purdy now 6.2. And so a lot of the numbers indicate that these guys are operating in the same ballpark.
That's what they are. And again, I know some people I've gotten some flack because I've said something. Brock Purdy's really good. I'm not trying to take any credit away from him.
He's better than a 7th round pick.
100%. He's showing that he's a starting quarterback in football.
Yeah.
I've just a pushback because I've had some people trying to tell me he's top 5 quarterback in the game all of a sudden. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? They're just, come on. That's all I'm trying to give some people, and I think too, he's doing amazing. And like we said, he's executing and doing things the right way. I do think he got the benefit of the team and the offense started to kind of come together right as he got in the game too.
Yeah.
They weren't running the ball all that great. And it was right around then where they started to figure out, okay, wait, this guy's our starting guard. And they got healthy up front, and they became a better running football team as well. So, and again, that's not against him or anything. It's just the way the stars aligned a little bit that way. But as I've always said, There's great talent, and Shanahan's a magician. He's a magician. And that's what's cool, about the 49ers. And that's what's cool about the Eagles. It's not just quarterback. They go, wait, we got a team. We're going to beat you in a lot of ways. And when our quarterback plays good, we almost become unstoppable.
Yes.
And that's where both of them, I think, are doing lately. And we'll see where that goes. I'm so excited for this game. This to me is like, old school, late 80s, 90s NFC football. Maybe not with the, star quarterback quite yet on both sides of the ball. But, damn, the rest of it is just like, I feel like this is, 49ers, Giants, Cowboys, 49ers, just like studs galore everywhere.
Well, that's what I think makes it cool, is that you don't need that all-star pocket passer quarterback Justin Herbert tearing teams up from inside the pocket. It's there are many ways to win in the NFL. The Eagles are showing one way. 49ers are showing another way with a seventh-round quarterback. One more question here from Goal Line Stand 2. He goes, hey, Chris and Ahmed, what are your thoughts on Lane Johnson's performance coming off the injury? How will he fare against Bosa one-on-one? So, Lane Johnson, which was crazy, the first quarter, it looked like he was a little, still holding his leg. It didn't look like he was 100%. I was like, oh, there's no way he makes it through the game. I guess he made it through the game. They also had another injury on the offensive line, I think, early on.
Yeah, they
where
lost
Landon
the left
Dickerson
guard.
had to come out.
Dillard came in.
I think Dickerson went back in. But, I guess if Lane made it through last week's game, it looks pretty good for this game,
I saw what
too.
you saw, too, a little bit of, the grab of whatever there.
Yeah, early on. I was like, ooh.
But, as the game went on, I didn't notice anything. He didn't seem like he was laboring. He was dominant. The Giants, the edge guys, did they play? I don't know. Were they there? That's what I want to say to you.
Yeah.
They kind of just made sure they handled Dexter Lawrence, and they were like, the rest of our guys will kick your ass, and they did. Yeah. They're amazing. The Niners got a big, overpowering offensive line. It's not like the Eagles. Those two tackles are both like sledgehammers and good pass protectors. And then, of course, you got Kelsey and the group you just mentioned inside. It's a special group. I don't expect, a ton of problems. Again, this is where, for the first time, the 49ers are going to have to go, oh, shit, I don't know if we can just expect our defensive end to go around the game all game long. We might actually have to help them out and try to stress their protections out a little bit more and do some of that. And that's what's cool about this too. Both teams, I think, can take each other out of the comfort zone a little bit to make them do some stuff they don't really want to do on a normal basis. And I'm just interested to see what that is because I don't know what it is yet. I'd love to sit here. I know I maybe told you more answers as far as what I expect from the Chiefs or the Bengals. This one's a little different in how I can see the attacks kind of playing out.
I don't know where you're leaning, but maybe this will help. BetMGM has our conference championship highest scoring team odds. And so we showed the odds on Monday how each team was kind of close by. I think the odds have gotten a little more separation as far as, who's favored to get to the Super Bowl. But who's going to be the highest scoring team this weekend? And if you would have told me, even a couple weeks ago, I'm kind of surprised by this. The Bengals are favored to have the most points this weekend, plus 210. Then the Eagles, plus 230. Then the Chiefs, and then the 49ers. Obviously, Mahomes' injury has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
49ers going against a great Eagles defense has a lot to do with that.
Right.
Bengals.
Eagles going against a good 49ers defense.
Yeah.
I think I think the way the Bengals are playing, the way they looked last week, the amount of points they've put up in the three previous matchups, right, against the Chiefs. Again, let me see. Last year, we had what would they score in the AFC Championship game? I'm going to pull it up right now. I'll beat you to it. AFC Champions, they scored 27, right? This year in Week 13,
27.
They scored 27, right? Mm-hmm. And then last year, regular season, I'm going to look that up too, just so we have that.
I hope it's 27.
It's 34.
Oh.
Right. They won 34-31. So I think there is why you see that, And then I think there is why, people are expecting that kind of high number and the matchup of what they've done to the Chiefs. So I guess when you really unpack it, you do kind of get it, especially with the NFC matchup and as good as those defenses have been.
Chiefs opened as 3-point favorites against the Bengals. They are now 1-point underdogs.
Yeah.
It is the first time that Patrick Mahomes has been an underdog in the playoffs in his career.
It's crazy. They're in a position that they have never been in.
No one thought they would be here.
And I was shocked. I saw when it opened up. I was shocked that the Chiefs were favored. I want to go, wait, on a neutral field, everybody's healthy and good.
Yeah.
I would think the Bengals would get a 2.5 point, favorite, let alone 85% Mahomes or 90% Mahomes.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked to see that. And then the history and the matchup and everything we've talked about. And again, like we said, the Chiefs are going to have to do some different things. This is the first time I feel like in the Mahomes era where we found a team to go, the Chiefs actually got to change what they do. Usually teams are always going, wait, but we got to do this because we're playing the Chiefs and we got to do that. And if we don't do this, we can't beat them. This is the first time where I feel like it's on you, Chiefs. You guys got to make some adjustments here.
Even if they would have had a 100% healthy Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's where it's intriguing. And they're a special group there, and I don't put anything by them. And I think they can make the right adjustments to pull it off.
Who would you put your dollar on?
I think
this is going to give away one of your picks, maybe.
I know. I don't know. I would not bet on this, is what I would tell you. I would not.
That's how he got out of it.
No, but
wait for tomorrow's pod for the pick.
But I think if you made me bet,
it could be value, and it might not be who you think is, but it's like who gives you the best value too.
Gosh, that is really. I'd probably still take the Bengals if you just want to make, especially if it was like, wait, it's a large sum of money, and I want to be safe with it, and I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with the Bengals. If you're like, Chris, you have to bet $10,000 on one of these.
Yeah.
And I go, damn, okay, I'm not going to go for the risky or the value bet or anything like that. I'm going to go, okay, I like my money, and I'll go with the Bengals.
All right, so you heard it here first. If we forced Chris at gunpoint, $10,000, this is where his bet would go. The action never stops at BetMGM. Of course, we would never do that. Sign up now using the bonus code Simms. Your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000.
Man, so say you bet $100 on George Kittle to be the Super Bowl MVP. That would be awesome. First tight end ever to win that award. If you win, you will get $6,600. But if you lose, you will still get $100 worth of free bets.
Simply download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com. Enter the bonus code Simms to make your first wager risk-free up to $1,000. And now we take another look at how you, the homie, has done. 816 homies. And maybe Florio a few times, right? Because we had a few Vikings to win the NFC Championship, and we thought that was his whole family, maybe Mike a few times. So who knows if someone voted twice, but we update how you guys have done, who's right, who's wrong. The Giants did not make it to the conference championship game. No homies had them in the conference championship games, and so everyone is right.
Smart homies. What a smart bunch of smart homies.
816 people were right that the Giants did not make the NFC championship game. Jaguars, one homie had him in the conference championship game. I want to give that homie.
Hey, he deserves a little credit.
100%. Pete's going to get his name.
Yeah.
Because they were closer than any of us thought.
Yeah, you're right. He deserves credit for that one.
3% of the homies out there had the Cowboys in the conference championship game. Not that many.
I actually would have thought more.
With some Cowboy fans out there with some faith.
Right.
They've jumped off the bandwagon now.
Oh, gosh.
Immediately.
Yes.
Time for a new quarterback.
Change the team.
New coach, new running backs. They're all on your side all of a sudden. Bills, 77% of you guys out there had him in the AFC Championship game, including me.
Yeah,
including
me.
Chris.
Yep.
Pete, did you have him in there? Oh, yeah, you did, because Pete had him winning it all.
Oh, sorry, Pete.
Most of any team, 31% of you out there, most of any team had the Bills winning the whole thing. 24% had the Chiefs. That's the second highest, so... Quarter of you out there still with a chance to win. Out of the 816 entries, none of us picked the correct Final Four.
I had the Chiefs, I believe, beating the Bengals in the divisional round to go to the championship game and then beat the Bills. I did have the Eagles-Niners.
You had 3 of the 4, and so you are one of 99 homies who still have the Super Bowl matchup here, too. So you still have that.
Got a chance.
So you still have a chance to get that. Your Super Bowl matchup is 49ers.
Chiefs, 49ers, and I picked the Chiefs to win.
Yeah. And now you have the dilemma of if you think that is different now, like what are you going to do?
I know, right?
It's hard.
Right. I'm going to pick I'm not going to be married to my – that's the one thing I've been telling myself. I'm not just going to go, well, I picked this in, week 0.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to evaluate it for what we know, what we see right now. I can promise you that. I'm not going to worry about being right or wrong 8 months ago.
I mean, it's smart to do that, right? Because if you pick opposite of what you picked earlier, then we can show either tweet. You're like, oh, wow, Chris called it like a week ago, or, hey, Chris called it at the beginning of the year. It's like you're right either way.
Oh, gosh.
Sunday Night Football, get both tweets out and ready to go. Abraham Akwe had the Jags losing the AFC Championship game to the Dolphins, but he had the Commanders winning it all. So, Abraham, while I was going to give you credit, maybe you're just insane.
We're taking it back. We're taking it back because of who we see you had in the other end of the Super Bowl matchup. You are crazy, Abraham.
Yeah.
We're back to you're crazy. Okay,
So,
sorry.
It was, you were
But good crazy. Crazy in a good way. I like crazy.
Better be lucky than good sometimes, right?
That's right.
Do a little digging, and we give less credit to Abraham, but thanks for voting in the poll.
Yes.
And giving your opinion out there. We got some TV watching advice here at the end of the pod.
Wow.
Pete has just put this in here. This is from Get Into This. He tweeted us, never mind the Bengals, Chris. Can you and your wife please ensure you watch White Lotus from the beginning? You really would be better off watching Series 1 first.
Yeah.
That is all. Enjoy.
Yep, I know. I get into this. I appreciate the question, and you're right. There's a little saying, though, that overtakes what you're saying. It's called happy wife, happy life, okay? She wanted to start with Season 2. I put on Season 1, Show 1, and then she was like, wait, this isn't Sicily. She was like, I think you can just watch, they're not connected. And I was like, okay. I mean, I just thought maybe we would start with Season 1 and just go to Season 2. But no, we're on to Season 2.
So how many?
They're not connected.
How many seasons in are you? Or I mean, how many?
We've watched 2 shows. We'll
shows.
watch 3 tonight. Hopefully 3 or 4 tonight. Maybe we'll get to 2 tonight. But it is pretty good so far. I am liking it. I had a good feel for it. I saw it during the football season on HBO, and was like, oh, this show is good. I just couldn't quite get into it because it's football season. But now I'm getting there. But thank you, Get Into This. I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to listen to my Sicilian wife.
Yeah.
And we're going to watch Season 2.
Smarter that way, right? You can always go back and watch Season 1. And And then you could say to her, see, we should have watched Season 1. Like, you could always hold that over
Get
her
into
head.
this told me, honey, that we should have watched Season 1 first.
Right. And he has never led us astray. So interesting stuff to end the pod there. And also watch Columbo on Peacock.
Where do you think I'm leaning? We're not Columbo on Peacock. You're right. Sorry, I didn't mean it. So who are you picking? Because we're not going to hear from you again, and we're wrapping up the pod. Who are you picking to win these games?
I'm pretty bad at predictions, but
shut up.
My gut is telling me Eagles beat the 49ers.
Right.
They just have more answers, more talent. They do all the things the 49ers do, but maybe just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think, I think the Bengals win. So I think if Mahomes wasn't hurt, I would have picked the Chiefs, but I think the Bengals win.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm probably with 75% of the people out there.
It's tough. It's I hear your logic there. Yeah, Eagles, Bengals, Super Bowl would be cool too. It's just funny. Yeah, it's funny. I always find the connections funny and just how things work out in so many ways. It's just that. I mean, what is it, the 49ers and Bengals, where they're linked? Like, they played each other twice in the Super Bowl, and they get close to the Super Bowl, and they're both there hovering over each other. I always kind of find it funny how those coincidences happen, from time to time.
All the montages that will run in the Super Bowl if these matchups happen.
Right.
But what I will say is that whoever loses these games, it's like I keep hearing everyone wanting to declare Brock Purdy as the starter next year. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, he probably has the leg up on the whole position. But I feel like we forget every week how much one game can change opinions on a guy, right? Yeah,
that's
like
exactly
Dak Prescott in our ear, right? It's like all of a sudden one game where a couple bad throws, it's like all of a sudden he's not the answer. And Daniel Jones, we saw it too. like to think that couldn't happen to Brock Purdy with a not even a bad game, just a game against a really tough defense that makes some plays against you.
Yeah, you're gonna hear all the people come on. See, this is why he can't be your starter in the future. He couldn't make those throws.
It at least has to be an open competition
against that epic defense that we've only seen have sacked the quarterback more than the only team ever. The 85 Bears have sacked the quarterback more. I know. Damn, you're right. You're right. I know. That's what we do.
How quickly you'll hear it from he's got to be the guy going in, like you're hearing this week, to being like it should be an open competition.
Yeah, right.
Just keep your ear out for that. But I hope it's a good game. I think both games will be really good. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And then I got to figure out who I'm going to pick tonight. I got a pretty good feel, but you're going to have to listen to my picks podcast with Florio, the Simms Unbuttoned PFTPM collaboration. That'll be tomorrow. We'll do that late morning. Please tune in, check that out. Subscribe, rate, review all Simms Unbuttoned things. Please do. Keep sending them the questions. Whether you hate me or love me, please do. We like the haters too. Yeah. I got no problem with that. I understand it's emotional. It gets personal at times. I'm not trying to get personal. I'm just trying to give you football stuff, so please don't hate me personally, okay? All right. Peace out, everybody. Be good. Enjoy Conference Championship Sunday. It is going to be awesome. All right. Be responsible. Be safe.
Yep.
Ahmed, have fun.
Thank you. You
Clap
too.
It
Clap
up.
It up.
Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.